All right, everyone, let's start the festivities. I'd like to welcome everybody to our first, what I hope is an annual event of Export Day. My name is Rob Hack. I'm from the Hawaii Pacific Export Council. We often go by the acronym of HPEC. We are a nonprofit 501c3 company headquartered here at the Foreign Trade Zone. Our office is on the other side of the building. We are all volunteers. We have approximately 32 to 35 board members at any time. Our board members are nominated by the local U.S. Commercial Service officer who will be speaking later. And his name is John Holman. You should get to know him, and he'll explain later why you should get to know him, but it's a very good number and email address to have. Anyway, Hawaii Pacific Export Council, we are charged with helping Hawaii companies export. And export, to be very clear, as I said in the morning session, if you were here, to be clear, export does not mean California or Oregon or Las Vegas. It means a foreign country. Most of our companies, when they come in here and they hear the word export, they immediately think of Japan. So a lot of our programming is geared towards Japan, but it's not exclusively for Japan. We certainly help companies export to other parts of Asia, but Europe, Canada, Mexico, and what have you. Okay, while I have, so this is my title slide on PowerPoint, but while I have this up, I would like to show you our website. Just bear with me one moment. And at our website, you can find an archive of our videos of events such as this one, where we're approaching 100 now. And we cover every year topics ranging from country specific, like exporting to Taiwan, to intellectual property protection. Hopefully, what our prominent attorney will be here later, Seth Reese, who will talk about intellectual property protection. For our small companies, that generally means trademarking, making sure your trademarks are ready to go before you start exporting to a foreign market. That's incredibly important. We also do, almost annually, we do an agricultural products event, shipping agricultural products to foreign markets. We have an annual event. You can see this is 3 hours long. Sometimes it goes longer. It's Export University, where we talk very many different topics like logistics, which this event is, and finance and cultural issues, what have you. International trade shows has become a sort of an annual event. Kanzo Nara in the back has been very helpful with multilingual websites and what have you. We're able to do all of this thanks to a grant we receive every year from DBET and SBA. And with that, I'd like to introduce Jamie Lum. She manages the international programs for DBET and is instrumental in all of this, so thank you.
Mahalo, Rob, and welcome everyone. Aloha. I'm Jamie Lum with the Department of Business, Economic Development, and Tourism, and I'm in the Business Development and Support Division. Our division works a lot with small businesses. We have various programs to help businesses. From early on, we have a small business loan program through our community-based economic development program. We have an enterprise zones program that can help companies that locate in certain areas throughout the state have some tax relief. It's a 7-year program. But the program that I oversee and that I work with Rob and HPEC with is, as he mentioned, because of a grant that we received from the SBA called the Hawaii State Trade Expansion Program, or HiSTEP, and it's to help small businesses in Hawaii, whether you're new to export or you're already exporting and looking to expand. There's funding available to help you to help carry out some of your export activities. We also organize some trade shows. We do training. As Rob mentioned, all of those videos, these are all part of the HiSTEP program, these webinars that we do. We also partner with a number of organizations that are here as well, the SBDC, I think VBOC is here, of course SBA, HPEC, Innovate Hawaii, the Mink Center, to help companies by using the business advising services that these organizations already offer to small businesses, and we tie it together with our HiSTEP program. So anyway, we have a table back there, and please come and see me if you have any more questions. Mahalo.
Thank you, Jamie. And as Jamie said, the DBET has a table in the back, and she's a wealth of knowledge on this, and she coordinates all of the HiSTEP grants. So please stop by and visit her, and say hello and exchange information, because she's a good person to know in this regard. Next, I'd like to bring up David Sicking, please. David is the zone administrator. He's in charge of this entire complex here. He's also on the board of directors of the Hawaii Pacific Export Council. He is giving a tour of the facility at 3 p.m. If you're interested, please attend and sign up. If you haven't already, the sign-up sheet is outside on the check-in table. So David, thank you.
Well, good afternoon and welcome to the Foreign Trade Zone. We are so happy you are here today, because this is really the place where international trade happens. We call this the International Trade Resource Center. So the resources are here for you, and as part of that, HPEC and all of the other partners are here to be able to assist you to do that. So you think, what is a foreign trade zone and why is it here? Well, we're more on the import side of things, but those who are doing manufacturing or need parts for those things you're going to be exporting, you're going to have to import some of those. And that's really what our job is, to give you that cost offset to be able to do that. We'll talk more about that when we get to the tour. I can show you a little bit about how a foreign trade zone works and how the two hats that we wear, one is a grantee of a foreign trade zone, which means our job is to establish foreign trade zones throughout our zone project area, and the other is an operator, and that's what our warehouse is, and I'll show you how that operates coming up a little bit later on. But again, welcome. We're glad you're here, and you got the resources at your fingertips, and glad that we're here to be able to help you with that. Thank you.
Thank you very much, David. Are you prepared, or do you need a minute? If you can, I think it would be interesting for a lot of people. Do you mind? I'll get them up. Oh, how about you go at the end? Is that all right? I'll get up the slides and we'll go at the end. All right, thank you. That's the infamous John Holman, if anybody is. Mary, can you say a few words about SBA, please? Because it's really SBA funding that makes all of this happen. The money flows through DBET and then to the Hawaii Pacific Export Council. So we'd very much like to thank Mary and SBA. Mary's the local SBA representative, so.
Do I need a mic? I don't think I need a mic. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm just quick because Rob told me 2 minutes. I was like, 2 minutes, that's what we got. So we do give the grant to DBET. They are doing an excellent job with it. We want to make sure everybody talks to them and come to everybody's booth. But SBA is here to help small businesses, whether it's with financing through our local lenders, or if it's for counseling through our resource partners. We want you to be aware that we also have that export side of the house. I'm the District International Trade Officer in our office, so if you need anything that has to do with export, call Mel. So she's our lender relations manager, but you can call me about the export thing. So we really appreciate you guys for coming today and find out about the STEP funds. And there's going to be a new program coming out, secret, but we'll tell you about it later when we get more information on exporting. So thanks, Rob.
Thank you, Mary. Thank you, Mary. The SBA Export Finance Program is a very important tool for a lot of our exporters to try to get into foreign markets. Where's Susan? Susan Utsugi is from Central Pacific Bank. She's a good contact for you. They can process a lot of that SBA international finance, so please contact her, mingle around with her later. Yep. All right, with that, then I'll bring up the infamous John Holman to give his presentation on the U.S. Commercial Service and what they can do.
Aloha, everyone, and thanks for having me. Wow, you guys started right on time today, huh? I was setting up some conference calls for a client in Singapore, Korea, and Canada. We just connected about 2 weeks ago, and they're excited about all the opportunities abroad, and so that's good news for Hawaii. My name's John Holman. I serve as the Director of the Pacific for the U.S. Commercial Service, part of the United States Department of Commerce, and I see a lot of familiar faces, but a lot of new faces. So I like to ask people, how many of you have a business or work with an organization that has an international office, that has an office in another country? I see a hand here, 2, 3, 4, couple, maybe, okay. Everybody's hand should be up because your tax dollars pay to support a global network of offices through the U.S. Department of Commerce at the U.S. embassies abroad. We have 250 offices in 80 countries around the world to help U.S. businesses, in our case, Hawaii businesses, to grow internationally. So how many of you have an international office as part of everybody's? I see, there's a finger going, okay, yeah, everybody. All right. So I'm just share a few bits about the commercial service and what we do. Do I just hit next on here? Okay, pop quiz. I forgot I sent you these slides. All right, we're doing pop quiz. Can anyone guess what Hawaii's #1 product export is? So we've got service exports, but physical products. Can anyone guess what Hawaii's #1 product export is? Any guesses?
Airplane parts.
Airplane parts. That's a great guess because if you look at the trade stats, it shows that airplane parts and oil are Hawaii's top exports just on the data, but that's not true because those are what we call pass-through products. They just land here from somewhere else and get transshipped. So they're not actually Hawaii exports that are made here. Any other guesses? Shrimp. Have you seen my presentation before? Yes, the answer, oh, okay, so you know. Hawaii's #1 product export by dollar value is broodstock shrimp. And that's because where we're located geographically, these shrimp farms are pathogen-free and they're able to produce and then sell all over the world. What percentage of U.S. exporters are small businesses? Can anyone guess? What percentage of U.S. exporters are small businesses? Any guesses? 90%. That is a great guess. It's 97% are small businesses. People think only large multinationals can do business internationally, when in fact 97% of U.S. exporters are small business, which SBA categorizes as 500 employees or less, and 75% of exporters have 20 employees or less, more of the scale of what we have here in Hawaii. But yeah, lots of opportunity for businesses of all sizes, especially small business. Can anyone guess what the best place to do business in the world is? So right now, the World Bank issues a ranking from 1 through 197, the best through the worst places to do business in the world on about a dozen factors. Anyone guess what the #1 best place to do business in the world is? Hawaii's a great guess. Hawaii's a state, not a country, and the U.S. is about #6 right now. You saw my presentation like 2 weeks ago. I recognize your face, and he's right. That's good. That's good. It is New Zealand's #1, Singapore's #2, Hong Kong's #3, Korea's 5, US is 6, and on down. Where does Japan rank in this ranking? You know, Japan is the 4th largest trading partner for the United States. It's Hawaii's #1 trading partner. We have a lot of connections with Japan. Where do you think Japan ranks from 1 through 196? You can't answer. You just saw my presentation. Any guesses? What was it? 50. Okay, 50. Someone said 30. I believe it's 29 right now. So 29. Where do you think China ranks? Great guess, 57. So about 5 years ago, it was 78, and it's moved all the way up to 31. So dramatic increase, and they've been making some improvements. Still, not the easiest place to do business, but it's moved up. And then this is a fun one. Can anyone guess what Vietnam's population is right now? Does anyone know what Vietnam's population is today?
100 million.
Are you a demographer? Because that is spot on. Vietnam's population as of this year is 102 million people. Wow. And the reason I share that with people is 102 million, and it's a growing country by quite a bit, and it's a very young country, which means more disposable income. People are trading up for higher quality goods, and it may not be the best market for every business, but there's a lot of opportunities in a market like Vietnam. Okay, here's the ease of doing business rankings currently, yep, which you see there. Oh, these are important. Those with the blue are the countries where we have free trade agreements with. So we have free trade agreements with Singapore, with South Korea, Australia, Canada, Mexico, Costa Rica. The reason that's important is that means the United States has agreements with those countries to lower tariffs to 0 in most cases, 99.8% of cases, and we make sure the intellectual property is protected, rule of law applies, you're going to get paid. 50% of all U.S. exports go to the 20 countries where we have free trade agreements with. 50%. So it eases trade for U.S. businesses. Those are the factors that go into the Ease of Doing Business Index, which you see there. Electricity access, one we take for granted, but has a huge impact. Hawaii's top exports, we touched on briefly before. In dollar terms, 98% of Hawaii's exports are in services. So that's travel and tourism, education and training, architecture and engineering services. We have some world-class firms here that do architecture engineering projects all over the world, mostly Asia Pacific. And then when it comes to products, although it's only 2% in dollar terms, that's where I probably spend 50% of my time helping companies with logistics, protecting their intellectual property, standards, packaging, all that good stuff. And you see here ranked on the bottom, broodstock shrimp on the right, macadamia nuts too, coffee, bottled water, cookies have come out of nowhere the last 3 years and have popped into the top 10 here, and then papaya and then spirulina bioastin round out the top product exports. This slide is for exporters to think about if the top line are all the things you do in your business here in the United States, R&D, manufacturing, distribution, sales, all that stuff. You don't have to do all the same things in the market you're selling to. You don't have to recreate the wheel, so to speak. Here's an example. Shaka tea, everybody knows Shaka tea. They make bottled teas kind of like Snapple, with Mamaki tea grown on the Big Island. So when they wanted to enter the Japan market a few years ago, they came to us and we came up with a strategy. It didn't make much sense to ship glass bottles full of mostly water from Hawaii to the mainland to Japan, right? So what they did is we helped them to find a partner that they could license the branding, license the recipe to. They sold the dried mamaki leaves, which are pretty light, to Japan, and then their partner brewed, bottled, packaged, and distributed the products there in Japan. They're able to successfully enter the Japan market and grow that business. So there's many different ways to enter new markets. Logistics, just so you know, if you're not already aware, Incoterms, international commercial terms, these are 3-letter abbreviations for what happens in the shipping process. If you're the shipper on the far side there, X works your factory, moving to the buyer on the other side, this is where in the process your goods transfer title and liability from you as a seller to the buyer. And so you may get a buyer saying, hey, I want to get, give me a quote FOB. And so they're saying that they want a quote of your product when it lands on the ship to them, right? And all of this is negotiable, but it's just important to know that these exist, and you might have some preferences of what works best for you. All right, a little bit about the U.S. Commercial Service. How are we doing on time? Good?
All day if you want.
Okay, good. Well, we won't keep you here all day. Last year, for every dollar in taxpayer funding Congress allocated to our agency, we generated $230 in sales for U.S. companies. My office here in Honolulu, for every dollar that has funded this office over the last 16 years, we've generated $860 in sales for Hawaii companies to the tune of $1.93 billion. So that's your tax dollars at work. Who would take that return on investment? Pretty good, right? So because we're a government agency, we do have a few requirements of the companies we work with. It has to be a U.S. business. The product or service has to be at least 51% content by volume or value. So if you're importing Havaiana slippers from Brazil, you want to re-export those somewhere else, that's fine. Nothing illegal about that. We just can't use tax dollars to support the promotion of those products. So the products have to be at least 51% U.S. content. And then we look for companies that are export ready. And what that means is you're getting some international inquiries or sales, maybe coming through your website. You've participated in the HiSTEP program or attended some of our seminars like Export University. And you've also maybe have some sense of what markets may be best suited for your products or services. We call it the path of least resistance. You don't have to have it all figured out, but you've at least have some sense of where you're going, and then we can help you to take the next steps. So what we do kind of breaks down into 4 main categories here. Market research. My colleagues at the U.S. embassies around the world conduct market intelligence on the ground so they can share with you what are the major trends, what are the major barriers to entry, what are the major trade shows, if that applies to your product or service, that you might consider attending, and we can help to do some matchmaking for you at those shows, which leads into trade events. We do trade missions, trade event matchmaking at domestic shows, mostly in Las Vegas, because those are where some of the largest shows happen each year, and then internationally. And then international partners. So finding great partners is one of the keys to doing business internationally. People that are representing your brand, that are going to ensure you get paid, which is the single most important thing. And so we help companies to find quality partners on the other side. One of the ways we do that's through the Gold Key service. So if you tell us what type of partner you're looking for, maybe you sell to Whole Foods and you want to connect to Whole Foods type stores in Korea, we would then contact those types of companies, tell them about you and your business, maybe send over some samples, and those that are interested, pre-screen, we arrange one-on-one meetings for you and them. And because of the U.S. government, it shakes out less legitimate partners on the other side and gives you immediate credibility in their eyes. When you go to a trade show and you collect all these business cards, you have no idea who you're talking to. This helps to sort that out. And then we also do background checks. So just this morning, a Hawaii company said, hey, we have a potential partner in Chile. We have no idea if these guys are legitimate. We want to know if they're a viable partner for us. So we do a full background check on their legal standing, financial standing, and then provide a report. Sometimes we even send someone from the embassy out to their place of business to interview them. And then consulting advocacy, basically answering all those questions you have about exporting, nuts and bolts, customs, standards, paperwork, intellectual property protection. We're here to help you answer all those questions. There's a few more words about those services. And there's my contact details up here. And so feel free to reach out to us. Definitely take advantage of all the resources in this room. The HiSTEP program is one of the highest performing programs throughout the country in what they're doing. Jamie and her team are doing an amazing job. The Hawaii Pacific Export Council and the seminars that they're putting on are fantastic. SBA's got some great programs, so definitely make sure you avail yourself to them. And with that, I'll turn it back to you. Rob Hack, thank you very much.
Thanks a lot. I think it's important to mention, and Jamie, you can back this up for me, that the Gold Key service that John was talking about when talking to the embassies and the consulates around the world, he's your window for that. So get in, talk to him, and he can set you up, for example, with the embassy people in Akasaka and Tokyo. But the HiSTEP program will pay for that Gold Key service. Nod your head a little more emphatically for the audience. Okay, thank you. All right, bear with me while I get rid of this, and we'll have a few words from Cynthia Yamasaki. She's going to talk about SBDC, and they're a critical partner for our program. And just bear with me while I get rid of that. Great.
Good afternoon, everyone. It's so nice to see new faces and some familiar faces and in person. Thank you, Jamie and HiSTEP program. We've done this every year, and this is, I guess, after a long time, an in-person event. So there's something special about meeting people in person. So please take advantage of today afterwards to meet all the different exhibitors, talk to us. But I am Cynthia Yamasaki from the Hawaii Small Business Development Center. And my partner there, Pascual Castaño, he's a senior business advisor, and he's certified to be an international trade advisor. So what we do at the Hawaii Small Business Development Center, we've been established since 1970. We have offices in each county, Kauai, Maui, Hawaii Island, and Oahu. On Oahu, we have a mighty team of 6, and our specialty is to help you be successful in expanding your business and in this case, export. So when you go through the process, and if you think that, oh, I really know I'm so inspired today, I'm going to go and grow my business by sharing my wonderful products and services with the world, we are sometimes known as your little bubble burster for a good purpose. We want to make sure that you're successful at it. So, like before you buy a car or a used car and you want to like make sure you're buying a good one, you look under the hood or you kick the tires. So with your permission, we will kindly review with you your current status of your business, ask you for your business plan, whatever you have, and your export plan. Don't know what an export plan is? Then there's training for you and experts in the nuances of exporting, the technical things. And then we will review with you all the different business aspects of how it's going to impact your business and ask you questions, give you information. If you want some of our feedback based on our experiences as longtime bankers, business owners ourselves, we go through a certification process. We're all employees of the Hawaii SBDC, which is part of a collaboration between the University of Hawaii and Hilo, and we get funding from the SBA, thank you very much, SBA, to provide this free business advisory services for you. We won't write your business plan for you, but we will help you build your confidence in knowing more about your business, all the details. So if you were to hire a consultant or an attorney or your CPA, you can ask them those questions and make them work for you instead of being so dependent on what they tell you. And you will make the decisions you need to make and the actions you need to take to comfortably and safely and financially be able to grow your business and enjoy life and sleep without any angst, hopefully. Anyway, thank you so much for this opportunity to share. I know I went over 30 seconds, but I love this, and would love for you to stop by our table, sign up for our newsletter or our services. Mahalo.
Thank you, Cynthia. Basically, our final speaker is going to be Dave Erdman from my organization, the Hawaii Pacific Export Council. His day job is pack rim marketing in the back. And let me get this quick presentation up here. We can cover introduction to the Hawaii Pacific Export Council in about 120 seconds.
Got it. Thank you very much, Rob. Well, he's explained already what the Hawaii Pacific Export Council is, but I'll just mention this. First of all, we are funded from SBA through the DBED, and we have a contract with DBED to put on these seminars and programs, one of which is today's program that you're able to attend. Rob mentioned about the video library we have. We are almost up to 90 videos of all the programs. So if you have not been to one of our seminars, that QR code right there and this one right here will take you directly to our website and to the seminar page where you can see a video. Like today, we're videoing this program, and you'll be able to see those seminars, which are really rich in information. And the people who speak at the seminars, many of them are from overseas and they're really the experts in those countries on exporting. So I highly encourage you to go to our library of videos, but really I encourage you to come to our seminars. So speaking of our seminars coming up, next year, what's on the plan? We do have our kickoff, which is actually our kickoff for Oahu is today. But for next year, we start with Export University, which is Export 101, and that'll be late January or first part of February. And then we roll into a series of programs, which could include exporting of agricultural products, exporting of services, sister city, we're exploring sister city or sister county programs, how you can better sell to those sister cities or work with them for exporting. And we're looking at some other countries that we haven't had programs on, from Mexico, Europe, yeah, yeah. There we go. Okay, we often all focus on Japan, which is obviously a very important market, but we're looking at these other areas that we think are important, and in particular, some of the markets that speak English may be of interest to you. Okay, Rob? But what's important about today is I want to thank everybody in the room here who's in the logistics business and has a table. It's really important for our exporters to be able to meet you and for you to have conversations with them, because we can't export without you guys. Nothing will move from here to there without our logistics partners. So I want to personally thank you all for being here. This is our first export day. So for 2025, we're going to have another one. It'll be probably a whole full day, and we look forward to it. And having all of you engaged. And again, I appreciate the logistics supporters here, logistics companies here who are supporting our exporters. So thank you very much. Anything else, Rob?
No, I was just going to go around real quickly and talk about each table, and I'll do that karaoke style. And then we'll.
I'd just like to say one thing that yesterday, Hawaii Pacific Export Council, with our partner DBED and U.S. Commercial Services, we were on Maui, and we were there for a seminar. We had 120 people, small and medium-sized businesses, mostly small businesses, that were there to learn about how to export, how to do e-commerce, and how to really up their game in a difficult time. And I just want to say that I want to Neil Rath there, if he can raise his hand. He was the one who helped put together the program over in Maui. He's one of our board members. And anyone who has a red lanyard on is a board member for the Hawaii Pacific Export Council. We are volunteers. We have our own businesses and companies, but we're volunteers to help you on the Hawaii Pacific Export Council. We are appointed by the U.S. Commercial Service from Washington, D.C. So all of the board members are vetted and appointed, and somehow they've put us on the board because of our knowledge in marketing or in logistics, in banking and finance and other aspects. So that's why we're there on the board as board members, and we're there to help you to export internationally. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Dave. Here's my contact if anybody has any thing you'd like to discuss further, or make sure you're signed up for our events. With that, I'm going to kick off the mingling session, make sure everybody gets out here and networks properly. I want to make sure I go around and raise your hand and say hello to, you met John Holman, you met SBA, you haven't met UPS yet. Peter Stams is on our board. The U.S. Postal Service, which is a good contact for us to have. A lot of small companies, when they're first starting out, how do they get their packages to their foreign markets? It's here. So come and talk to Leah and say hello. Don't know what happened. United Airlines, say hello. Air Canada, American Airlines, Pac Rim Marketing, you just met them through Dave. Of course, you know DBET. Here's JAL Cargo, say hello. Kanzo Nara has always been very gracious with his time. He helps us whenever we need speakers on multilingual websites, multilingual social media, etc. So please come by and say hi. Here's what I refer to as the godfather of air cargo in Hawaii, is Brian Suzuki. So thanks to him, and it was through his connection and his contact list that I was able to get a lot of your contact information and able to set up this event. So thanks to Brian for that. Unfortunately, he's a Dodger fan, but we're going to let that go. He said he's auctioning that hat, though, for $20. It's a Shohei Ohtani hat. Pretty cool. $20, he said, per ticket. Delta Cargo, I love that. SBDC you met. And the Patsy Ming Center. Did you want to say a quick few words about Patsy Ming? I'm putting you on the spot.
Yeah, you are.
Sorry. All right. Well,
Just that we are here to help support the Women's Business Center, help support the early entry export businesses in strengthening your business and getting you ready for export.
Great. And as a reminder, the tour of the Foreign Trade Zone begins in about 10 minutes. David Sickink will be doing that in the back. Where do you want people to convene? Just out in the, near the elevator or somewhere? Okay, great. So with that, let's kick it off and start our networking. This is obviously a logistics-heavy day. We have Seth Reese is here. He's the intellectual property attorney in the kind of peach shirt. He's also been very generous with his time for us over the years whenever I've asked for a speaker on intellectual property concerns, and that largely regards trademarking for our companies. Seth has always been gracious to offer his time and service, so I encourage you to get to know him. We have a couple of exporters who have brought samples. Mama Pho has the garlic chili. It's really good. I've got it probably from your mom, I think. It's really good. And Mike Halke has, what do you have, curries and chutneys and curry. Great. So between the two of you, I'll have a very fiery mouth later, I suppose. All right, with that, let's get together, network, talk to all of the logistics providers and what have you, and thank you very much for coming.